Hello and welcome back to the Gaming 5. I wanted to note something that, while once again not factoring into the review, I felt was worth mentioning. Until I had the game in my hands, I didn't say anything, but now that I've played it, its overall feel and handling is closer to WipEout. Sure, WipEout was the PlayStation's answer to F-Zero, but I realize that many Nintendo fans do not venture outside of Nintendo games. For those of you who know WipEout, you have a much better scope of what to expect from this game. You probably don't know, but Fast Racing Neo is an indie game currently exclusive to the Wii U. It's a futuristic anti-gravity racer that touts both an incredible sense of speed and a graphics suite that is intended to push the Wii U's hardware. Does it do both at a price point that you just can't resist? I dare say if this is your first venture into the high-speed stakes of anti-gravity racing, you're in for a bit of a shock. But if you're an F-Zero and/or WipEout fan, you already know most of what to expect. You go fast, boost faster, and try not to explode. This game attempts to mix up the boost mechanics a bit by using a simple color matching boost mechanic, which does serve to create a neat memorization challenge at higher speeds. But right there is where I need to put the brakes on: higher speeds. No matter how good you get, you'll find that without exorbitant hours of frustrating practice, you'll often be using the sides of the track as a bumper rail. And this is where I have to also place a warning down. Playing at the hypersonic speeds is only for those dedicated to track memorization. It's a point at which one single mistake will cost you a podium in that race. And because of how the speed pretty much throws you into rails even if you've memorized the track, hypersonic becomes a more frustrating experience than a thrilling one. Add to that AI that clearly rubber bands and controls its speed and cornering outside of its parameters to maintain positions in a race, and I can safely say that if you want to just enjoy the game for its concept, you should stick to lower speeds. At lower speeds, the game is enjoyable and fun, giving you enough time to react rather than memorize, and yet still provides a sense of speed that is only available within this particular type of racing game. Lastly, the vehicles vary in stats a bit, and you can feel some vehicles being heavier and faster than others, but I oddly felt that the appropriate vehicle was tied to the speed class. Heavier, higher top speed vehicles for slower classes, and lighter, slower but more agile vehicles for faster classes. Friendly reminder here, indie games come in at a budget, so content is rarely a highlight for indie games. There are a total of 4 cups with 4 tracks each, 10 vehicles, and the usual modes of championships and time trials. But you'll unfortunately see most of what the game has to offer in less than an hour. However, there's a mode coined Hero Mode that is a bit of a nod to F-Zero. Your boost doubles as your shield, it mirrors the track, and opponents as well as yourself can quite simply be blown up. Unfortunately, you have to unlock tracks for it via the frustrating Hypersonic Cup, but it's still a worthy change of pace because it adds a real sense of danger. There's also local and online multiplayer, which may get you some additional hours even if you're simply swapping AI opponents for human ones. That's assuming you find enough people not playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. In the end, you can get your $15, but you might find you have to work for it a bit. I state once again, indie games come in at a budget, so graphics are rarely a highlight for indie games as well. Fortunately, this game delivers on graphics. Mostly. Before you Nintendo fans go running off to your friends touting this game is the best looking game this generation, I want you to know there are some serious shortcomings to achieve 60 frames per second. For example, foliage uses a simple single plane sprite that spins to always face the camera like games from the N64 era. Taking an in-game screenshot at half frame rate shows what looks to possibly be a composite rendering method that seems akin to the method used in Killzone Shadowfall's multiplayer mode. You also might notice how bad the aliasing is. You also won't notice any of this at speed. What I'm saying is that this game looks good, but isn't going to win the graphics race upon close inspection. And finally, Shin'en Multimedia knows their music, so crank it up if you've got a booming home theater system and a taste for robot porn music. It's fun if you keep it on the fast, slower speeds. It's frustrating and only for the hardcore fans at fast, hypersonic speeds. For those hardcore types, they are rewarded with a mode that's a rather nifty nod to F-Zero, making the $15 worth it, while casuals may get less of their money's worth. It also looks far above its indie budget, but isn't going to change the status of the Wii U's graphical capabilities under a more scrutinizing eye. It's fun while it lasts, but it's up to you to figure out how fast that passes by. I give Fast Racing Neo an 8 out of 10. That's it for today. Subscribe for more gaming content delivered directly to your retinas. I'll see you next time on the Gaming 5.